So we're seeing a lot of CMMC pre-assessments. So we'll do assessments and be sure they're ready to actually go through the audit at this point. Why is, and I know why, but I just, from a summarized point of view, why would you say CMMC is so big right now? What's pushing it?
Yeah, so I think the reason that you're seeing such a, I guess, energetic nature in the marketplace for CMMC is that it's essentially defense contractors licensed to do business with the government, right? So it's essentially the certification that, as the rule is finalized here in the next coming days, we're expecting this to be inserted into most of the Department of War's contracts moving forward.
So it's not required yet, but it's going to be required shortly?
Yeah, so there's kind of some nuances to this as well, because there's a couple past requirements that are required, and then there's the CMMC program, which is being kind of codified into the rules. So the first part was the DFARS 7012 clause that I think began in 2013 or 2014, and then got those initial, and then the NIST SP 800-171 requirements came into play 2016. So companies were supposed to be self-attesting to these for a long time, these 110 171 requirements. And then in 2020, the 7019 and the 7020 clauses were put into place. And what 7019 did was it essentially took those self-assessments that companies were supposed to be already doing, and it said, all right, now you have to start entering these scores into SPURS. And what the 7020 clause did was the DoD stood up an assessment arm, the DIBCAC, the Defense Industrial Base Cybersecurity Assessment Center, and they started conducting double checks on those SPURS scores to make sure that these are already going into place. So where CMMC comes into play is this clause, this 2021 clause, is kind of what is being finalized, and this is the clause that's going to be inserted into the contracts moving forward here with the Title 48 rule that's supposed to release November 10th. And essentially, there is a Title 32 rule, the 32 CFR, which was finalized in December, which actually set up the foundation. So the program is in effect because it has been codified in that 32. So that's where all the bones of the actual assessment, the certification, and all of that, all of those different nuances with the actual program itself, that's already been finalized. That's already been codified. So that's why you're seeing the uptick in all of these level 2 assessments and people starting to get their certifications because they can. What Title 48 does is it puts it kind of escalates the urgency, right? So it inserts this 2021 clause into contracts moving forward, and there's going to be a phased rollout in the next couple of years where the first year is kind of a self-attestation of this, a self-assessment, but the DoD has the discretion to require a C3PAO certification for some contracts. In level 2, that C3PAO requirement is going to be, you're going to start seeing that into the contracts. And then by year 4, all of these contracts are going to have that requirement for that L2, that C3PAO. The government will be able to start implementing those into all of their DoD contracts. So I think you're seeing kind of a rush of people that have been kind of slow playing this, waiting to see whether or not this is actually going to be finalized, kind of seeing, okay, we've got to get on our horse here because we're going to need this certification to keep our contracts or win this work.
Starting November 10th, 2025 is
yes.
when it's going to go.